Hey everybody, welcome back to the Frugal Filmmaker Q&A. That's the show where you send me a question and I try to sound smart. If you'd like your question read on the show, please send me an email to frugalfilmmaker@gmail.com. That's your best chance of having it read on the show, or you can leave me a comment below, or you can send me a message on Twitter at frugalfilmmaker. And last Monday was Trivia Monday, and the question was, what was my favorite sound recorder or audio recorder, the one I use the most? And as many of you know, it was the Zoom H1 handy recorder, and the first one to answer me via email was Jose Cuvion. So congratulations, Jose, you win a short film idea deck from the Frugal Filmmaker. That should be arriving within a couple of weeks. Remember, there are no repeat winners, so if you didn't win this time, please try again at the beginning of next month, or the first Monday of each month is Trivia Monday. My video last week was called Igus Responds to the Itsy Bitsy Slider. If you recall the Itsy Bitsy Slider video, that's where I took a free sample from the Igus Corporation and turned it into a functioning slider. A lot of people requested those free samples. Igus responded with a video, as well as fulfilling a lot of the free samples. I found out from a lot of the comments on that video that a lot of people still haven't received their slider. So if you can, contact Igus. If not, I'm actually going to put in an inquiry about that and see maybe how long it'll take. A lot of people were told 6 to 8 weeks and still haven't received them. So if you have received them since that last video, please leave a comment below or leave a comment on the Igus Responds video so we can know that you are getting the sliders. Because I know a lot of people have received them, but apparently a lot of people haven't. So hopefully those orders will still come through. Our first question is from Twitter, from Dire Targuster, about these Igus Itsy Bitsy Slider videos. And they ask, is the link still up for the free slider? I really need one and it would help me so much. Well, I'm not providing a link for everybody anymore because they got such a flood of requests that they asked me to take it down. However, if you poke around on the Igus site, you can find the free sample link. It's still there. You just have to do the work to get it. So I can't give it to you per se. I told them I wouldn't have that link up anymore. But they are still offering the free samples. You just have to put in the legwork to go finding how to get it. Okay, on to email. Our first question comes from Milos Bukarica. Sorry if I butchered that, Milos. My question is, have you had success finding gear, tripods, lenses, etc. at pawn shops or garage sales? You know, I've rarely had success at these places, probably because I'm just not willing to put the time in to find that stuff. I don't have a lot of time the way it is, and to go to all the pawn shops and look for lenses and gear and things like that, or garage sales even for that matter, I'm just not able to do that with my family commitments and things such as shooting videos like this. I'm just not able to do it. So my biggest success for me has come through kind of what you might call typical internet sources, eBay for example. I've had success getting all my vintage lenses through eBay or sites like keh.com that have vintage lenses, although I've never purchased from KEH, but I'm always poking around their site because they have a lot of good stuff. And if you're going to do that, I just recommend, as I've said before, you just look for certain kinds of language in the description to make sure you're not going to get the shaft. For example, make sure the glass is described as scratch-free, fungus-free, everything works, aperture, focus, things like that. And if you read enough of those descriptions, you'll get the idea what's good and what's bad. Don't buy things that have real minimal descriptions like, well, I don't know if it works or not, or I got this at an estate sale, I can't vouch for it. Anybody that can't vouch for a lens or a camera item who claims not to know if it's good or bad, to just stay away. And I guess you could use the same kind of logic if you went to a pawn shop or a garage sale. However, I'm not one to be able to pick up a lens and go, oh, it's perfect. You know, I can look, I can see there's no fungus in there, I can see the scratches, because there's always minimal stuff in there that you really can't see. And if somebody is putting their reputation on the line on eBay, for example, because they want to maintain that high user rating, whether it's 98% or 100%, they're going to vouch for their product. So that's why I have a lot more confidence in eBay. If you look at somebody's rating and they've got X number of sales, that's a pretty good indication that they are a pretty worthwhile seller. So that's what I look for. But again, that's what I do on eBay. I don't do that at garage sales or pawn shops. I haven't had a whole lot of success there because I just haven't put in the time to go to those places. So if anyone else has any comments for Milos about garage sales or pawn shops, please comment below, and I'm sure he'd appreciate it. And I would learn something too, so please share. Okay, our next question comes from John Yim. He says, hi, I'm from a special education class, so is there any way to go to film school or a class or anything like that without the basic classes like math? If not, is there a similar way to meet people that like filmmaking personally? This is a really interesting question because I never really thought about this. Although this could apply to everybody, because even if there are film classes available, you don't have to take other classes like electives that would qualify for a degree. You could always just take those individual classes as long as you qualify for the prerequisites. For example, if you wanted to take advanced cinematography, you would have to take basic cinematography first. But you could still go to classes like that. Even if you don't take all the core classes for a degree, you could still take film classes. Now, of course, you're not going to come out of it with a degree if you don't take those electives or other core classes required for that degree. However, you can still get those film classes, and as a result, you could network and develop friendships with people that have like-minded interests like filmmaking or lighting or makeup or acting or whatever. If you plug yourself into that network or into that group of people, that's when you're going to develop those relationships. You could always try auditing a class, which means you're not paying for it, you're just kind of sitting in, And in that way, you could always meet people afterwards. You could talk to the professor, if they let you audit at all. Some classes won't let you do that, obviously, but some will, and that's one way to get into a class or get into a group that you might be able to network with and get to know and then potentially use on your own film shoots. Okay, our next question is also from email. It's from Megamix Graphics, who says, hey, I'm using a Canon 70D for filmmaking and a Rode VideoMic Pro. Do you think this is a good camera for short films? And do you prefer a better mic, or is this a good one for now? Well, here we come up to a gear issue. You know, is this camera better than the other one? Which one should I pick? And really, gear isn't the issue as much as just getting the best camera you can get your hands on, and if that's what you have, that's what you should use. If you want to refer to my video where I took a bunch of microphones, including the Rode Video Pro, and put them in different audio scenarios in the same location, you can check that video. I'll leave a link below, or a YouTube card annotation. I wasn't that impressed with the Rode VideoMic Pro as a boom mic per se, but it does have its use as an on-camera mic. That's what it was designed for. So you can check that video and see what it sounds like. I recommend just strictly a shotgun mic that's made for booming. But ultimately, I would say just use exactly what you have. If you have a microphone, if you have a camera, start making movies with that stuff. See how well it works for you. And if it doesn't work for you, maybe upgrade to something, or maybe put it in a different scenario, use it differently, experiment, practice, all that kind of stuff, and I think you'll be fine. And that's how you learn. You just use what you have, and then you kind of build upon that knowledge that you learn from just the real basic stuff and move on to more advanced stuff, if that's available. If not, just keep making movies. Okay, our final question comes from the comments of our last week's Q&A from Beanie Productions, who says, hey, let's say you win some money in a film festival / competition. Should I split the winnings between the cast and crew? I think you should definitely share it with your cast and crew. And if it's not a lot of money, if it's just a little bit of prize winnings, whatever, $100, $500, you know, the easiest thing you can do is just throw a party, a wrap party if you haven't had one. Buy some food, feed everybody, have a good time, sharing good stories, show the deleted scenes or the blooper reel to everybody, show the final cut. Things like that can be a lot of fun. I guarantee you, if everybody who volunteered on your film and worked really hard to give you a good product finds out that you won $1,000 and you're not doing anything to kind of share it with them, like the very least, I think a party, then they're going to be a little upset and they might not want to work for you again, and I don't blame them. I had an instance in the past where I worked with people and they volunteered, and even though I didn't make any money on that project, when a paid project did come along, I used those same people. That was how I could reward them, even if I couldn't reward them at the time. Later down the road, I proved to them that I appreciated them because I actually did hire them on a job, even if it was something really simple. Just remember that's kind of the golden rule. The way you treat other people is the way they're going to treat you. So if you treat them with respect, they are going to come back and either give you respect by working on your stuff in the future, or at least help your reputation by giving you good word of mouth. So consider everything you do, because it's definitely going to reflect on everything you do in the future. All right, that's all the questions we have this week. Remember, if you'd like your question read on the show, please send me an email to frugalfilmmaker@gmail.com. That's the best chance you have of getting your question read on the show. Or you can leave a comment below. I can pull it from there, or send me a message on Twitter @frugalfilmmaker. I should have a video this coming Thursday and another Q&A on Monday, so please tune in for that. I'd like to thank everyone for writing in and for all your great comments and support. Thanks for watching.